ever since the FOMC meeting that was only like December 17, December 18. December 18 is when they made the 0.25%, so 25 basis point rate cut, which was expected, is what everyone is saying. And it just doesn't, none of it really makes sense, I guess. But let's just, I guess, do a little summary of it. So everybody kind of knew that they were going to do a 25 basis point cut. And generally, or maybe I shouldn't say generally, but I didn't study economics in school, okay? So, but apparently most people that do study it was used to the fact that usually rate cuts should mean that it's cheaper to borrow, and it should mean that it is easier for companies to therefore also borrow money, and for just businesses to be able to borrow money, and therefore stocks are supposed to go up. But that did not happen. So pretty much right after the 25 basis point cut, markets started tanking. Okay, stock market, like literally Tesla was on like a new high, and then there was all these like headlines of Elon Musk having like, I don't know, over 400, I don't know, is it 450 billion at this point or whatever. He had well over $400 billion, and everyone's talking about that. To the next day, Tesla obviously crashing a bunch, and literally everything just crashing a bunch. Hi there, welcome. So everything was crashing after the Fed rate cut, and obviously the crypto market went down with it, which I'm not really surprised, because really from my short span of watching the market, you can kind of see that whenever something crazy happens, or like you hear Ukraine and Russia, like any bad news on the exterior, it's going to affect the market. Because what is the stock market? It's all these companies that are functioning in the world that we live in. So when something goes really wrong in the world and people are freaking out, they're going to sell, right? And hence the pandemic, which is kind of like when I started to trade more. So I'm not really shocked that when the stock market drops, it's kind of like crypto is obviously going to come down along with it. So that's not really the shocker part. I'm just kind of mad at myself that this isn't the first time where the Fed made rate cuts and the market doesn't go up. The market ends up going down. So it's almost like I'm used to this, yet I let it happen without making sales beforehand, right? Like now looking back at it, I just feel kind of dumb, because I'm like, oh, why didn't I just sell a bunch of stocks and a bunch of crypto right before the Fed rate cut that we all kind of knew was going to happen anyways? But whatever. Okay, we'll get more into what I did, and I guess I'll let you guys decide whether you're watching this video on a live stream right now, or if you watch it later. Let me know down in the comment section. I try my best to read all of it. But yeah, let me know if you think what I did was good or bad, because I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyways, if you are watching my live stream, as usual, never financial advice on my channel, entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed financial professional of any sort, so do not take anything I say as financial advice. Just a regular, normal person with very irregular trades on the internet, just sharing my trades with you guys. So all right, guess back to the Fed rate cut, okay? That was only December 18, but it feels like it was forever ago. But anyways, it's December 21st, almost Christmas, so happy holidays. For those of you guys that are more excited about Christmas than you are about the crypto market, like I am. Anyways, so we'll just go over it. Like, here's some notes that I kept from that date, right before he came out with his summary of economic projections, the SEP. So I guess there's like there's all these parts to it, and honestly, like, I'm not that good with exactly how everything goes down with Fed rate cuts. I pretty much am just like, okay, we're cutting 25, cool. So from my normal person perspective, with a basic probably 0.1% understanding of the entire like financial market, what I understood from Bloomberg is that they were talking about the Fed rate cut before it happened, and then after it happened, these experts that went on Bloomberg that work for all these different banks or hedge funds and whatever, and all these strategists were saying that basically next year people were expecting 4 rate cuts, because there's 8 FOMC meetings in a year, right? And then that's when they can be like, oh, we're cutting the rates, okay, we're staying like as is, or we're gonna raise the rates, which actually hasn't happened in a while, but who knows. So next year, I think the economic projections, people, or the majority, the masses, kind of assumed that it was going to be like 4 more rate cuts, because I think this is the last one for the year, right? But next year, there's supposed to be 8 more FOMC meetings, and people were expecting there to be about 4 more. And now apparently people are expecting that to be sliced in half, and there's only going to be about 2 more rate cuts. So with 2 more rate cuts, the interest rate's not going to drop by a crazy amount, and that's going to affect everything, like me buying a house, you buying a house. With the rates being much higher, it's just going to affect, you know, your mortgage rates, interest rates being this high. I mean, it's good if you, I guess, want to keep your money in the bank and, you know, you're just letting it sit there for interest purposes. I don't really do that, but I do have Robinhood Gold, which if you are interested, you can also do that too. Links down below for all of the different platforms that I use if you want to help me out and help me with that referral link, because anytime you guys use any of my links, then obviously there are perks for me. So yeah, I use Robinhood Gold, which just simply means like I trade on Robinhood is one of the apps that I use trading. Pretty active on it with like crypto and stocks, because I just have this like weird thing where if I don't put my crypto into all these different types of accounts, I just like can't control myself. So like Robinhood is more of my like do my YOLO trades, like move things around all the time. And then my wallets, like for example, like Coinbase wallet and whatnot, and things that are cold wallets. So it'd be like my Ledger Nano wallet. So hardware wallets that are more like just offline. Those are the places where I kind of like keep coins, and I'm not going to be trading in and out just because it kind of like is literally harder to. And my fingers are basically just like capable of making moves on its own sometimes. So I like the fact that I have different accounts is what I'm trying to say basically, because I find that if I have everything in one account, I'm probably gonna be like just buying, selling stuff like all the time, and it's just be really hard to just like diamond hand stuff. So it's much easier for me when I have like separate accounts where I have things where I'm just like diamond handing. And then sometimes honestly forget about. I'll tell you something funny. I forgot that I had a wallet until like this month. Like I totally just back of my, because you know how Coinbase, there was Coinbase Pro, which I think now they got rid of that app or whatever. So I had Coinbase Pro at one point, and I had the regular Coinbase app, which is now the Coinbase app. And then I also have the Coinbase wallet app. So I have all these 3 apps, and they're all from Coinbase. And then I just totally forgot that I had a Coinbase wallet, like at all. So then recently I was like, where did all of my coins go? Like, I'm like, I know I have this coin, and like I have this really long note where I'm like, oh, I don't want to look through it, and I don't know if I sold that coin without making a note. And I just like felt like I lost a bunch of coins for like a very long time. And then recently I was like, oh, Coinbase is different from the Coinbase wallet though. And I'm like, I've just been checking my Coinbase app for the longest time where I have like some coins there. And I'm like, but that's not my Coinbase wallet. So then I had to update my Coinbase wallet because like, I don't know, my iPhone's doing this thing where like I can't click into a lot of apps. Maybe it's saving me space, I don't know, but it basically I can't really click into a lot of apps until I update a lot of them. So I guess a lot of them are like not updated, so I guess I can't get into it. But anyways, that's just a reminder to you to please like be better than me and leave a note somewhere maybe, or like a self reminder of all the different places you put your crypto or your stocks, because like sometimes if you have a bunch of piggy banks, I would call them, like if you have a bunch of things, sometimes you just forget, and I literally forgot. So like it's a good thing I remembered, otherwise that'd just be like not good. if that coin that I had in there was to jump somewhere and I wanted to sell it, but I wouldn't remember that I had it in the first place, which would be really, really bad. Anyways, so okay, here are a couple things that was said that I made notes of. Okay, how many? Okay, wait. So these are some of the things that Powell said, like after the 25 basis point raise on the 18th. He's like, the median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 3.9% at the end of the year and 3.4% at the end of 2026. These median projections are higher than September, consistent with a firmer inflation projection. These projections, however, are not committee plan or decision. As economy evolves, okay, maybe I made some typo in here, so just do what you will with what I'm saying. As our economy evolves, monetary policy will adjust to best promote our maximum employment and price stability goals. Those are their dual mandate, if you've forgotten. Like literally, like every time I listen to him speak, it's always about the dual mandate. Anyway, so he says, price stability goals. If the economy remains strong and inflation does not continue to move sustainably toward 2%, it's always that 2%, we can dial back policy restraint more slowly. If labor markets were to weaken unexpectedly or inflation were to fall more quickly than anticipated, we can ease policy more quickly. So again, it's their levers of either increasing the interest rate or dropping the interest rate. And right now they're dropping the interest rate, which to me just sounds like they're still working on fighting this inflation. And if you think about it, like the easiest way I can understand it, because I do think it's like super complicated still, is that during the pandemic, which was when, remember, there was a bunch of shipments that weren't being shipped, all these businesses were having issues. So the easiest way for me to memorize what the Fed does is that they basically have this lever. It's not an actual lever, but they have the ability to control your interest rate, which is like how much it costs for, I think of it as like big banks borrowing, small banks borrowing from the big banks, and then people borrowing from the smaller banks. But when the businesses aren't doing good, whether you think of it as like a big company like Apple versus your mom and pop shops, but basically during the pandemic, everything was doing bad, right? Like, 'cause everyone was staying in and we're like freaking out. What's going to happen tomorrow? So when things are not doing good, they drop the rates, and then they make it easier for people to borrow. They make it easier for businesses to expand and do better. So it's almost like right now, I feel like they're still cutting the rates, but we're nowhere close to like near 0%, which is what we had during the pandemic when everybody was freaking out. And that's when Trump was in, and they were just like, let's just drop the rates and then make it super cheap to borrow. And then the stocks were going up like crazy. So we're not there, but they're just like slowly dropping the rates still. If they were to increase the rates, technically that should be bad for the stock market. But then nothing really makes sense to me anyways, because right now they're dropping the rate, and then you would think like, okay, that shouldn't mean the stock market should just like tank to hell. But hey, it didn't do too well. And the crypto market also just kind of tanked along with it. So anyways, just keep that in mind. And he says policy is well postponed to deal with the risks and uncertainties we face in pursuing both sides of our dual mandate. Okay, I wrote that wrong. I wrote deal mandate. So this is what happens when I take my notes wrong. Unemployment rate is now the same as July 2024, which was at 4.2%. So he said it went up and then it went down, but now it's around 4.2%. But again, these are just numbers. My like real life perspective on unemployment right now in America, and then also knowing people in Canada as well, it's not good. I feel like the general population in different fields are all kind of complaining about the fact that it's hard to get a job. It's kind of hard to, I feel like people have been complaining since the beginning of time, really, just about not receiving enough pay, and just kind of like dealing with inflation over the years, which is no surprise because inflation is just kind of a product of the economy doing better. And then as people make more money and as the economy does better, people are always going to feel like a little bit like they're falling behind. But it's a huge picture that's very hard to resolve. Like, I don't think Jerome Powell is set to resolve that anytime soon. And really any president put in place, or even the Doge team, Department of Government Efficiency, like even Elon Musk, somebody who is that intelligent, it is very, very hard to deal with the world, different countries, and all the different laws that go through, and taxes, because taxes in Canada are different from taxes in America. But basically it's just really rough for everybody. And with AI just coming through and people feeling the fear of it either having already taken away their jobs or in the future gonna take their jobs in the next 15 years or so, I think a lot of people don't believe it, but I do see it already kind of happening. I mean, like, we already know that there are a lot more robot workers in Amazon right now. Like, all those shipments that are being done for you, a lot of it is just like not actual robots like the ones you picture in, like, I don't know, that Will Smith movie, but there's a lot of like robot arms, and there's just a lot of robotics that are already dealing with a lot of human jobs. A lot of human labor has already been taken away. So some folks maybe just don't feel it yet, in a lot of fields that could easily be replaced with AI, but that's for down the line. So I definitely think that it's good to be proactive, and whether you feel like your job is actually going to be taken away or not, it doesn't hurt to look for other fields, other opportunities and places where maybe you could stay afloat, or just make more money, because it doesn't hurt to make more money. But I do find that I am seeing more ads. Like, okay, first off, Netflix, sorry, just off topic. We're gonna get into crypto in a bit, but like, just off topic, Netflix. I am a huge fan of Netflix. I've been watching a lot. Like, even when I'm working, sometimes I'll like still have Netflix on just in the background, just like kind of keep my mind from feeling like I'm just, yeah, like I like to multitask. But anyways, I'm realizing that Netflix, first off, I'm in the lower tier of Netflix, so I'm not the superior people. Like, I can't watch a lot of the locked stuff on Netflix, unfortunately, because I'm not paying for like their top tier. I'm on the lower tier level, so I watch the ads. And I don't know about you, so let me know if you're paying for top tier, and when you pause Netflix, do you see ads? Because when I pause Netflix right now, I actually see like a bunch of ads. So you'll see like what you're watching. So if I'm watching Gossip Girl, I'll see like Gossip Girl, and then I'll see right of Gossip Girl like some ad of some sort, like whether it's for lotion or hair wash. Like, there's just so many ads on Netflix now. And even in the middle ads of the show, where you're actually like watching a literal ad, not when you hit pause, but when you're watching like ads, I'm seeing for the first time like Fidelity ads. I never used to see Fidelity ads on Netflix. But anyways, like, there's just so many ads nowadays. On YouTube, I'm not surprised, maybe because like I talk about finance and stuff. So on YouTube, I'm constantly seeing ads that are related to crypto and the stock market, and getting people to use these different brokerage apps. I'm not really like surprised about that, but I'm a little surprised that I am seeing it on Netflix now. And I feel like that's going to hit the people who are, you know, not invested in the stock market. And I am realizing that more and more people are getting more interested, which is a good thing. Like, recently, one of my close friends who has never had an interest in the stock market, doesn't know what an S&P 500 is invested in the S&P 500, which I'm really proud of her of. But yeah, so there's more people getting into the market, and I think that's, whether that's a product of there just being like a mass amount of ads, or more people are more focused on their finances because you're hearing more about that in the news, like just market going to new highs, crypto doing really, really well recently. Whatever it may be, I am glad that more and more people are kind of like getting into it. Hi there, Anne. Hi, did you keep all of your dough? Should I sell? So guys, I cannot tell you what to do with your finances. I'm just here to share like some things that I do. Again, for those of you guys that want to know like my exact trades, I do share a lot of my trades on my Patreon and other paid platforms. So you guys can check it out down in my description below. You'll see like certain platforms that you can go and check out where I upload my trades. But on my Patreon tier, the $20 tier is where I upload like a lot of my different trades. But yeah, like, I do tell you guys that I do have Dogecoin, and I do have like Ethereum and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies, a lot more than 20 different kinds. And I will share with you guys also like some option trades here and there and stock trades. But I have pretty much traded, bought and sold every single one of my positions. I've held on to Ethereum and XRP for the longest time, because XRP and Ethereum were actually purchased by me before Dogecoin ever was. And I bought a bunch of that in the past, like as my like first early trades. And even that I held on and like never sold a single penny of it. And that I have bought and sold through the years. So I hope that tells you what I've been doing. A lot of trades, but I do still diamond hand certain positions, and I do have, and I think I've said enough times that I have enough Dogecoin. So Dogecoin is not something that I'm going to be buying more of, just because I bought Dogecoin like under a penny, and then I've bought at 3 cents. I bought at many different price levels, so I'm pretty much good with Dogecoin. Still love it, but there's a lot of other cryptocurrencies out there that I now see, if not more potential than Dogecoin, in terms of like, at the moment when I bought Dogecoin, I was looking for like 10x. I didn't even think about like 100x, which is pretty much what people ended up buying it for. When they were buying it at 1 cent, they were buying it for 100x. When I was buying it at 0.003 cents, I was really honestly just looking for like a 10x, and I'm like, oof, that's good. So really, for me, Dogecoin was something that I was thinking like, oh my God, 10x would be amazing. And mind you, remember, like for me, 10x would be a great deal because I just started. Like for me, I just kind of like really got into crypto and got into stock market around the same time as the pandemic. So for me, it was like, oh my God, 10x is like amazing. Now I'm like 60x, whatever. We'll wait for like 300x. I'm just kidding. No, you live and you learn. And now I'm like a lot less greedy, I feel like, than before. But I also have my expectations also set higher depending on like what type of cryptocurrency. So for example, if something right now is, okay, Dogecoin right now is still on top 10 of the coin market cap. So its overall market cap is huge. So what does that mean? That means the same way as I feel about Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is going to, in my lifetime, 1000x anymore. Like, am I going to say I'm going to bet every penny against it, not going 1000x? No, because I don't know how much money the government's going to print, right? And that's kind of the whole point of this. Like, crypto is doing well because people don't really trust the dollar and they feel like the dollar is inflationary, but Bitcoin is supposed to be deflationary. But anyways, I don't think Bitcoin's gonna 1000x at this point, just depending on how much money we actually have, right? Like, the money printer goes, but the money printer's not that crazy. So yeah, the way I see it is you are going to get a higher, I don't have Fartcoin, by the way. But I did hear about how Fartcoin did better than Nvidia. Like, I don't know, within the last month or the last year or something crazy. It just made me laugh. But I don't have Fartcoin. I don't even know where people get Fartcoin. But I swear to God, if Robinhood gets Fartcoin, I can't. I hope they don't put it in. But you know, Robinhood recently put in Bonk, and I had Bonk once upon a time. I sold Bonk, or like, at a gain, but unfortunately way too early because I didn't know Robinhood would add a Bonk. So anyways, I don't know if Robinhood's going to add Fartcoin or whatever, but Fartcoin basically, for example, I'm sure once upon a time, I don't even know where it's at on the coin market cap, but clearly it was far back, right? And what I'm trying to say is, if you do get an altcoin that is like number 300, 400, or number 500 on the coin market cap, that is probably going to get you a 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x more likely than you would in a Bitcoin. Because for Bitcoin to 10x right now, that is a lot of money. It is like what, more than $1 or $2 trillion, I want to say. Let me just pull up the coin market cap. But the bigger it is, the more money you need to be in there. But obviously, if you're Michael Saylor, he still believes that like Bitcoin still has 100 to 400x to go because he's thinking about all the liquidity out there that is investable. Is that even a word? Out there, like the digital market. If you search up the digital market, I think you're gonna see something like was it $400 trillion, I think? Or there's like a lot of money out there, like digital money that's capable of being invested. So I think at one point he said, okay, there could be like a 100x or 400x still for Bitcoin. And then I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense why he would say that, because if Bitcoin's at like, let's say 1 trillion and there's like about 400 trillion of digital assets, but then that would be crazy because it sounds like if it does get to 400 trillion, then everybody sold every other digital asset out there just to put it into Bitcoin. So anyways, but whatever, maybe 100x is still possible. But it depends. Again, everything depends on time. It depends on how long you're going to be on this timeline when it actually hits that mark. Because Bitcoin is still coming out. There's only going to be 21 million, but there's not exactly 21 million. Obviously, there's going to be less and less later on. But Bitcoin right now, we are at a market cap of 1.9 trillion. So let's say it's just $2 trillion right now, right? Even at currently right now, Bitcoin is at $97,000. Wow, sounds crazy to say that. Even at this drop right now, everything kind of tanked a bit. Not so much for Bitcoin though, in my opinion, but whatever. 97,000 is still kind of a crypto crash. A lot of people are hurting because I know people who bought Bitcoin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know people who bought Bitcoin very recently. And I also know people who bought like Dogecoin at like 40 something cents. So yeah, like clearly it is hurting more for people in altcoin right now than they are for Bitcoin. Because okay, yeah, you could buy Bitcoin at the recent all-time high of like $108,000. And it's not like $108,000, a 10% drop isn't even that bad. I mean, it's a little more than 10% right now, but even 20% isn't that painful as like the 50% dives that a lot of altcoins are experiencing. Like I think I was looking at PayPay, and PayPay went from like, I don't know, all the zeros and then 28 down to, I think it was like 16 recently. Now I think it's like 18. But that's like a lot worse of a dive. So anyways, sorry, I lost a little track of like what I was saying, but sorry, there's so much. Again, I think a lot more people are hurting on altcoins right now. So now I just go and talk about like a little bit of, I guess, what I did. So as you can see by my title, tax loss harvest. Again, not financial advice, but this is just like my little theory. Call it my little conspiracy theory. Because I like to think that there's just a lot of things that we don't understand. As much as I think people like to think that they understand, there's a lot that's just like unknown. And then so it leaves space for curiosity, thought, and imagination. My imagination, and purely imagination, I think that all of this that is happening right now almost makes sense to me. Like, not like it makes sense to me like, oh my God, I predicted this, but it makes sense to me why I think after so much rise in the crypto market and what felt like, okay, we're going to the moon, everything's just new all-time high every single day, bam, 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 like look at PayPay, look at Dog with Hat being listed on Robinhood, going to like $4 something, which by the way, now it's under $2. All of these altcoins that are doing really, really well, taking like such a large nosedive, it almost makes sense to me. And Bitcoin. Why? Because I have to think about how these large corporations, if you will, or you want to call them hedge funds or brokerages, when they're selling us these altcoins or any of these cryptocurrencies, they also have to get it. Like they have to own it, right? As you can still hear about like these ETFs and about how a lot of these ETFs right now, they're selling off. But I think BlackRock is still buying, or I'm sure Michael Saylor's still buying, but all of these places where you and I, regular folks, we go and buy it from them, which, by the way, if you're watching this live stream right now and you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate you. That just helps with the YouTube algorithm if you want to keep seeing my videos. Also, check out my other playlists. I know a lot of them don't have anything to do with stock market, but if you want to support me, thank you. Yeah, so sorry, live streams are like where I like to talk about the stock market and crypto and stuff and just money. But I also like have a lot of other interests, so you'll see me post a lot of content. But yeah, sorry. Anyways, I have this little theory of the market almost needs to go down, and I'm not saying it's these corporations that are making it go down, or maybe let's just call it whales. Let's just say whales are making it all go down. But I almost feel like this sell-off needs to happen because it benefits like two parties of rich people. The first party of rich people is just straight up whales that already made a bunch of money off of the crypto market, the stock market. And then part two, the other party that it also benefits is these large exchanges, including Coinbase as well, and like Robinhood and Fidelity, like anywhere that is capable of selling you anything crypto related, if they can like buy up crypto at a cheap price and whatnot, and then sell it back to you, I feel like it's beneficial to them. Because if every single day all you're getting is new all-time highs of PayPay or some random altcoin right now that is at number 500 on the coin market cap, if every day it's just going up, it's not going to be easy for these large exchanges to then buy up a bunch and then therefore keep it in their vaults and then sell it to you type of thing. So I almost like it makes, to me, this is purely imagination, like I said, I think it makes sense that these coins, these altcoins especially, could be dropping. It's dropping because maybe they already caught the eye. Let's just make up a coin, okay? So Huck Potato, I'm like combining Huck Twa coin, Huck Potato coin. Let's say there's a Huck Potato coin and it just came up like beginning of October. Okay, caught a bunch of attention, hit a new all-time high. A lot of people showed interest in it. It's really popular, but for an exchange to want to list it, they're going to be buying it at a very expensive price unless now it drops. And let's say now it's dropped by like 80%. Then those very large exchanges can now get this Hot Potato coin, keep it in their pockets, and then on the next rise, they're going to list it. And when they list it, they already have a bunch of it. And then they sell it to you, you're trading it, blah, 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 but they have a lot of it. So the way I see it is, it almost needs to drop in order for these large exchanges and corporations and wealthy people to benefit, and then be able to sell it back to regular folks. So anyways, that's just like one of my crazy theories. And then my second theory has to do with more like tax loss harvest, which is, if you don't know what tax loss harvest is, go and Google it. But my layman term explanation is, when you make money in the stock market, short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, either way, you are going to be paying your taxes, right? You got to pay Uncle Sam. So we're all paying our taxes here, of course. And then there's a thing called tax loss harvest, which is 100% legal, which is if you right now, okay, like let's say, for example, I made $200,000, right? I know I did really well in my option trades and my stock trades and my crypto trades, and I made $200,000 this year, in the year of 2024. And bam, now it's December. It's December, and everything is tanking. Everything is dropping. But whatever I end up making or losing by December 31st of 2024, that's all going to be added together as my final tally for how much I owe the government. So let's say I already made up to December 1st, I made $200,000 in capital gains that I need to pay taxes on come year 2025 when I do my taxes. But now the market's like down so bad, and my Ethereum, my Dogecoins, my PayPay that I made a bunch of money on, all of a sudden I still have positions in those. And the ones that I made money on is realized, meaning I actually sold and it's been calculated that I made that money. Tax loss harvest is when I made the 200,000, but right now my positions, right? Like maybe I bought PayPay again, and now my PayPay is down like 50%, and I can realize a loss of like $100,000 maybe, right? Maybe I still believe in PayPay, but instead of holding on to PayPay right now at, let's say, a 50% loss, right? Let's say I lost like, it says I'm down like $100,000 on PayPay. What I could do for tax loss harvest is, there's two options. If you don't want to do tax harvest loss, or you don't know what that is, or you don't want to deal with it at all, you're just looking at PayPay in your Robinhood account or whatever account that you have, and it says negative $100,000. You could just let it run if you believe in PayPay a lot, right? And you don't care about this tax loss harvest stuff. You don't care about it. You're just letting it sit in your account. And then you're hoping, obviously, that whatever you buy goes up. So by next year, you're hoping that it goes up. But then what some people might do, if you want to kind of have that tax loss harvest kick in, is, for example, like I said, maybe I realized, like I sold, I bought, and I ended up selling, and I realized $200,000 in USD cash, let's just say on my Robinhood account. And then now I see, oh my gosh, I'm going to be paying $200,000 because I made $200,000 in 2025 on taxes. But then now on my PayPay, I'm down like $100,000. So I could actually sell my PayPay and realize the $100,000 in a loss, which would be deducted from the $200,000 that I made prior. And therefore, I am cutting down the amount of taxes that I'd be paying because now I'm realizing losses. So it's like your gains are getting cut. But the beauty of crypto tax loss harvest, because people do this for tax loss harvest for stocks too. But the thing with the thing with stocks, like let's say I sell my if I have also a Tesla position and it's also down $100,000, right? If I sell my Tesla position and I realize, let's say $100,000 in a loss for my Tesla position, I can't just buy back. Okay, so I can't just sell it. Let's say December 20. Stock market's closed today. So I can't have sold it yesterday, Friday, December 20th, and then realize $100,000 and then literally 5 minutes later buy back my Tesla stock. Because if I buy it back, that's going to hit the wash sale rule, which also applies. So wash sale rule means that if you do want to collect your tax harvest loss, which of like, let's say $100,000 of a Tesla stock market loss, I can't just buy it back within 30 days. You have to buy it back after 30 days so you can realize the loss. So that's a crazy thing about the stock market. When people do tax harvest loss, it's almost like you gotta bet that you are selling it, you're realizing the loss, but maybe you still believe in the underlying asset and you are still allowed to buy back and realize the loss, but you gotta wait past that 30 days. But in the crypto market, the crazy thing is that there is no wash sale rule for the crypto market. So I could literally realize the 100,000. This is, again, an example. I didn't do this, but I could realize a $100,000 loss on my PayPay, right? I can realize the loss of $100,000 on PayPay, and then I could literally just buy back PayPay. And then I can diamond hand it still. So it's almost like you're still holding on to that exact same position, minus the fees and stuff of Robinhood, of course. But I could buy back that exact same position and have realized a bunch of tax losses. So again, I think this happening in December, and you can look back to previous Decembers and other cycles and if it was bullish or bearish, but I'm almost not really, hi there, I'm almost not surprised that if December is kind of not the greatest month in history of stock market and the crypto market, it almost kind of makes sense because it gives, again, not like just helping regular folks, it's helping the rich people. This doesn't really matter if like you and I, okay, we made like $10 on like Bitcoin or something. It's like whoop-de-doo. Like I'm not really gonna be caring that much about tax harvest loss. But for some dude who made like $10 million on Bitcoin, yeah, your tax loss harvest is kind of a big deal if you do have a lot to collect. So anyways, with that being said, I'm not making like $100,000 losses on PayPay. I wish I would, because if that did happen, I mean, that must have meant that I had a lot of PayPay and maybe I made a bunch of money. So that is not me, but I did do it. So I made a bunch of gains, obviously through November, and I did a bunch of trades in the green. So I know I'm gonna owe a bunch of taxes for next year. So when everything dropped, I did decide to sell a lot of positions in crypto, that is. But instead of buying it right back, I actually want everything to drop lower. So here's my little plan, and let me know what you like, if you think this is so crazy, because this is crazy. I know it's not like necessarily a smart idea because nobody knows until the end, right? Like I don't know if I did this right until the end, and when is the end? I'll find out in a couple months or maybe by the end of next year. So basically I made some gains, then the market crashed after the Fed rate cut. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna cut my losses here and reduce my taxes because I'm literally realizing a lot of losses. But again, instead of realizing those losses and just diamond handing those same positions and then waiting till next year, where I don't get to cut off any of these taxes, by realizing certain losses, I decided to just realize some of the losses, hold a bunch of cash right now, and I'm waiting for the market to dip even lower, hopefully, for those positions that I sold. I want it to drop lower so that I could buy it at an even cheaper price. So when it goes back up, hopefully it does, nobody knows if it will. If it goes back up, I will have realized the loss for 2024 like I wanted and still get the gains that I would have waited for if I just diamond handed those positions and not done anything. So that is the dangerous game that I am playing. And so far it's okay because whatever I sold is still down. Like whatever I sold did not all of a sudden go back up to the moon. As you can see right now, Bitcoin is nowhere at like $105,000. And even if Bitcoin goes back up to like 105, 108, or even hit a new all-time high, I do think the altcoins would kind of like follow, but it doesn't mean they all have to follow right away. But my prediction, and this is like why I'm doing this in the first place, is also because like I've been telling you guys, even when things were doing good in November, I was like, it's not gonna go up nonstop all the way till next year November anyways. So I'm kind of like expecting massive dips and possibly like 2-month straight dips, 3-month dips, who knows, or maybe even 6 months. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you see like line go down for a very long time. I hope it's not though, because there's a lot of external factors, right? Like I don't know if when Trump comes on inauguration January 20th and when he's sitting in the White House, like what that entails. Like either we're going to go up or the market's actually going to do worse after he's sitting in. Like we don't know that. But right now, for this short duration of like now to Christmas to the New Year's and right before he gets into office, I am actually hoping for a much deeper downfall. I don't think Bitcoin is going to hit 70,000. I know I like kind of put up a poll and asked you guys what you think the price is going to be. I don't think it's going to go to 70,000. I don't think most people think it's going to go to 70,000. It could, anything could happen. I personally hope that Bitcoin could drop to like at least maybe 90,000, possibly 85,000. Again, that would be good for the whales. It'd be good for people who want to buy up. It'd be good for like some people. And altcoins, I think if Bitcoin were to go to 90,000, I definitely think altcoins is going to like tank down even lower. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum drops below 3,000. I mean, it's kind of been teeter-tottering, and it's dropped from that $3,500 like sweet spot that I was telling you guys about. Like, I really enjoyed 3,500 to about $4,000-ish Ethereum. That was a really, really good sweet spot. Like, I made a lot of money just like trading, buying and selling during that price range. Now it's gone to like 3,300-ish for Ethereum. And Dogecoin, I think at one point in like 3-4 a.m. in the morning PST, it went to like 26 cents. Honestly, if it goes to 20 cents, I'm not going to be surprised. So I'm actually waiting for bigger dips. But that means I am doing what's crazy, which is timing the market, because you don't always get it right? Like, it's really hard to time the market going up, and it's very hard to time the market going down as well. But that is kind of what I am taking a risk to do, because I just didn't want to sit on the sidelines watching all of my positions just kind of drop all the way to next year. But that is a huge risk that I'm taking too, because, you know, even though I did realize a lot of the losses like I wanted to for tax purposes, tax loss harvest, I might have messed up, because to me, if I realize these losses, but let's say like next week, everything, PayPay, whatever, Floki, Dog with Hat, Dogecoin, everything goes 3x, then I just screwed myself. That means like I shouldn't have done this, right? Then it'd been better to just like diamond hand all these positions. So I'm kind of taking a risk right now, believing in what I think is going to continue, which is more of a line downwards thing. I don't want it to continue on for 3 months of pain, but if it drops just a little bit lower, like for example, PayPay 28 to like, what was it, like 16 or 15 or whatever. If it goes to like 10, I think that would actually be okay for me to like, if I want to buy in. Not saying I'm gonna buy into PayPay, but that would be like the type of fall I'm looking for, right? I feel like 28 to 18 is bad, but it's not that bad, because if you look back to, again, right before, just as an example that I memorized, is just Ethereum right before it hit its old all-time high of $4,800 in November of 2021. In the beginning, so like that whole year of Ethereum having hit, I think like even at the end of 2020, from the end of 2020 to November 2021, Ethereum went from 4,000 to literally like $1,800, like it went under $2,000, from 4,000 to under $2,000, just to then jump right back up like less than a year later at 4,800. So like dips like that are insane, but it's happened in the past more than once and for multiple coins. So that's why I am not going to be shocked if I see way more drastic dips, and I am hoping actually for more drastic dips. But again, it is super risky and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm just going to eat it. I'm just going to eat the losses because I did what I did. And it's also, it doesn't really hurt me that much, because to me it's like, okay, I have cash sitting on the sideline. So even if things are moving up, I could also just not get into crypto. I could just put that money into the stock market. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like button on your way out. I gotta go, but take care. Subscribe if you're not already. Ring that notification bell so you know whenever my live streams begin. And I wish you guys all luck. Like, yes, I'm hoping the market actually dip more so then I can slowly get back in. But I'm also okay if the market just goes to the moon for y'all, because I know it's rough. And this happens all the time. I feel like it's crazy, but like whenever there's euphoria, and there totally was, and that's like I saw a bunch of people buying at like all-time highs for all these coins, and then it dips like this. Like it just happens all the time. Once you get into it and you're in crypto for like more than 2 cycles, I think it's just going to start becoming the norm. Or you don't even need to be in it for that long. You really need just to like look at all the different monthly charts, weekly charts, and then over the years, and you're just going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it just shouldn't come as a shock anymore. Do I think this is going to happen for every single coin till the end of time? Maybe not Bitcoin. I think that's what people are hoping for. I think a lot of people are hoping that Bitcoin is going to be the one that is the outlier in the future, and that it's just going to be so solid that it's not going to do like a 30-40% dip like it did in the past, or 50% dip. But time will tell. Take care, guys.